I am a private person. I enjoy my privacy. My name is Lonnie Miller, and I live in East Palestine, Ohio with my family, my husband and my son, and we have lived in our home for almost 30 years. But we are both native Pennsylvanians. Both of our families still remain in Pennsylvania. Our son Austin will be 21 years old in March, and he resides with us in our home. My home is approximately 200 feet from the Norfolk Southern rail line, which is approximately 1,800 feet from the actual point of derailment. I am also a small business owner in East Palestine, and my business is located roughly a mile from the derailment. On Friday, February 3rd, at approximately 8:55, our lives became a living nightmare. What I witnessed that night and the following days, it was a scene from a disaster movie that you do not want to live in. Our quiet little sleepy town was shaken with sounds of explosions from Friday night into the day and throughout the day on Saturday. I witnessed enormous pink and orange flames rolling and tumbling in the sky from my very front porch. The ominous clouds of smoke is something I never wish to see ever again. And the smells and the fumes that consumes our air and are still consuming our air in East Palestine and surrounding communities. You don't want to live breathing that in, and none of us should have to be forced to live and breathe that in daily with our families and our children and our pets and our livelihoods and our businesses. Everyone that we love, you should not be forced to live this way. Sorry. I'm so sorry. The night of Friday, February 3rd, about an hour after the derailment, there was a knock on our door, and we were told that they were going to evacuate our area. So many families live paycheck to paycheck in East Palestine. They have no finances to just be able to pick up and go and find a hotel room or find a place to stay. So many families and friends that I know personally, they could not afford to do so, so they sheltered in place. They had no other choice. They had to stay in their homes and shelter in place. Around 6 a.m. on Saturday morning, February 4th, there was a press release that stated the air was fine and that they were battling the fires. And we were also told, if you could not leave your home, shelter in place. And at the same time, we were told that the EPA was monitoring our air and it was showing no health risks. On Sunday morning, February 5th, the Sheriff's Department began going door to door asking for head counts of who was still in the evacuation zone. We were told that there was a possibility that Norfolk Southern will have to have a controlled burn, and that's how they were going to control the tanker that was unstable. Living in pure panic and anxiety and anguish, you just don't know what to do. You do not know what to do. You don't know who to trust. You don't know where to turn to. So my family and I turned to media, social media, TV. We kept waiting for those press conferences and breaking news, East Palestine, Ohio, train derailment. There was nothing. We were relying on social media to know what was happening in our own backyard. On Sunday morning, my husband and I were discussing the smells, the fumes that we were having in East Palestine and around our home. My husband has a brilliant mind, and he reasoned out that the fumes were coming from the waterways and the streams and the creeks, and this is why the reports of the dead fish and the pictures of the dead fish were coming in. He knew Sunday morning that these chemicals made it into to our waterways and our streams and our creeks. We decided to evacuate following the announcement made by Governor DeWine due to the catastrophic failure of one of the tankers containing vinyl chloride, and there was literally no place for my family to go. We looked and searched for hours. Hotels were booked for miles. The closest hotel that we could locate was over an hour away. How do you just uproot your entire life and move to a hotel an hour away? I believe during that same press conference, Governor DeWine stated that roughly 30 homes across the Ohio-Pennsylvania border, roughly 20 people on that side would be directly impacted and within the hazardous zone. We inquired of family members there and friends and family if any officials had come to evacuate them. This also includes my elderly mother and my disabled uncle, who live directly across the state line on Valley Road. And I know personally there are more than 50 people in that immediate area. In those homes, there are grandchildren and children. There's multi-generational homes that live in one household. I do not understand how they determined that number. I do not understand their imaginary bubble that they put over this derailment and the smoke and the chemicals that were released into the air, because whatever goes up must come down, and whatever goes up is carried by the wind, and it's spread for hundreds of miles. Every single community surrounding East Palestine, Ohio was impacted. Cannleton, Darlington, Enon Valley, Chippewa, Beaver Falls, Patterson, and beyond. My family was able to escape to East Liverpool, Ohio, and I can tell you, when I was walking my dog the very next day after the controlled burn, I was picking up feathers. And being the spiritual person that I am, I was thinking those feathers were signs from angels that we were safe. I know now that those feathers were being lost from the birds that were flying through those chemicals. A dear friend of mine lives in Chester, West Virginia, right across from East Liverpool, Ohio. And that day, she found 2 dead birds on her sidewalk right outside her home. From the night of Friday, February 3rd until Monday, February 6th, there was 0 contact and 0 guidance from Pennsylvania state and federal officials to help my family. There was 0. No one came to help my family. No one came to help my mom. She lived underneath that chemical cloud Friday night. As soon as that train derailed, those chemicals were being released into the air. There were explosions all night long, from Friday night through the day Saturday, throughout the day, Saturday afternoon into Saturday evening, because I heard them with my own ears. And living with those sounds in your mind, any loud noise I hear now, I believe is an explosion, is something that's going to happen. Something bad's going to happen. We should not be going through this. Norfolk Southern, there were videos I believe on Saturday, that were released of the train car being on fire. You can look it up on social media. Butech Bliss, I believe, is the name of the company where it was captured on one of their cameras rolling through Salem, Ohio on fire. The train car was on fire. They had enough time from Salem, Ohio to East Palestine, Ohio to stop that train. After reading about the dangers of vinyl chloride and phosgene gases and how deadly these toxins are, I am here today to ask, why didn't someone notify my family and all the families in our surrounding communities and let us know that we needed to leave and help us get evacuated and into a safe place? No one is making sure we are safe. East Palestine, Ohio is not a wealthy community. People live paycheck to paycheck. And we are being forced to return to our homes that are full of fumes. There is chemical dust. I can vouch for that. And the suffocating smells. And we've only been told to clean with soap and water. And not once have I heard anyone tell us to wear a mask while doing so. We are being told that our air quality is safe, but we are enduring rashes. One of my very best friends has been diagnosed already with chemical bronchitis because she lives right next to the creek that they are constantly churning that water and releasing the fumes into the air, and her home is right there. She has no money to move. She has no finances to move. Where is our government helping these people get out of those homes so they do not have to live there? I have a friend. She has asthma. She lives roughly a mile and a half out of East Palestine, where the derailment site is. She recently had knee surgery, and she cannot return to her own home that she has worked her entire life for to recover. She is recovering in her mother and father's house over in Cranberry, PA. She can't return to her own home because of the fumes and the smells. I have another friend who is in healthcare. Her face has been swollen for the last week and a half. She is embarrassed to leave her home, but yet she's forced to live in her home. She's embarrassed to leave her own home because of what she's experiencing, but being stuck in her home is what's causing it to happen to her. I myself have experienced the burning eyes, the lips, and the dizziness when I'm trying to clean, and I am breaking out in a rash on my face and my cheek. This has started within the last 2 days. I want to know where the resources are. The families can't afford all of these extra expenses: lodging, cleaning, air purifiers, filters for our water, and all the doctor and emergency room visits and medications. And I just want you all to imagine how it felt, how it would feel for you to watch Norfolk Southern build the track in front of your home when you know that it's still burning down the track, but yet they're building new sections of rail right in front of your home hours after the derailment. Norfolk Southern is a multi-billion-dollar company that caused this disaster. They could have prevented it. There are no excuses. We, the people, were forced to evacuate our homes. And we're probably going to be forced to give up everything that we've worked our entire lives for. The home that you raise your family in, your children. I want to ask why Norfolk Southern was so busy assembling those rails to get their track moving. Why were they not putting plans into place, mitigation efforts to control the chemicals. Why were they not damming it up somehow to prevent that from getting into our waterways and the chemicals getting into our waterways? They were using all of their resources and their money to get their rail reassembled so they could move that train through as soon as the evacuation order was lifted. Trains rolled through our town while fires were still burning. Families were still away from their homes. All they cared about was getting that train moving down those tracks. They did not care about us. And I'm asking you today to find out why we have been failed repeatedly over and over. We just want to be heard. There are so many stories that I could tell you. Being a mom, living in East Palestine for 30 years, being a small business owner, I know a lot of people. And when you know that there was an elderly gentleman, he's roughly 70 years old, and he breaks down on the sidewalk crying because everything that he's worked for in his entire life, it's gone. It's gone. We just want some answers, okay? We're really hoping that you guys can help find those answers for us. Thank you.